All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're getting started here on Tuesday, May 27th, about 4:06, Comox Valley Regional District Board meeting. This is an open session. We've already had a closed session pursuant to Section 90 of the Community Charter. I'd like to recognize that we are once again meeting on the unceded traditional territories of the Comox First Nation. And as part of our initial beginnings of these meetings, we're going to do a call to action. This is call to action number 71. Missing children and burial information. So we call upon all chief coroners and provincial vital statistics agencies that have not provided to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada their records on the death of Aboriginal children in the care of residential school authorities to make these documents available to the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. And with that, we'll move on to the business portion of our meeting. We have adoption of the minutes from the May 13th, 2025 meeting. We have a mover, Dr. Hillian, second, Director Grant. Any discussion on these minutes? Right, anyone opposed to approval? Motion carries. Next to section D, we're going to business arising from the minutes. We have a rise and report, and this is some appointments that were made previously in a closed session to the advisory planning commissions. At the May 13th, 2025 closed meeting, the board made the following appointments to the advisory planning commissions for the remainder of the 2023-2026 term. Maya Scott Lenz appointed to Area B APC, and Shane Landreville appointed to the Agricultural Advisory Planning Commissions. This is for information only. No action is currently required by the board. Moving on to section E, we have petitions and delegations. Our first delegation is an update on this Comox Valley Substance Use Strategy Collaborative. And we have two guests joining us online. We want to welcome Kim and Patty from the Indigenous Women Sharing Circle. And they're going to present some information about the accomplishments of the strategy and the collaborative thus far. Kim and Patty, over to you.
Thank you. I'll share my PowerPoint. And I'll have Patty start us off.
Thank you. We're coming today representing the Indigenous Women Sharing Society. My name is Patty Alvarado, the Executive Director and Coordinator for the Comox Valley Substance Use Strategy Collaborative. Thank you for having us today. We are very pleased to have this opportunity to present to you on the Comox Valley Substance Use Strategy Phase 3 work and beyond. We would like to start by thanking you for supporting us in this work.
And my name is Kim Hall. I'm the founder of Stories Told on Film, and I have the great privilege of supporting the collaborative in their effort to advance the 21 recommendations. We respectfully acknowledge that the work of the Substance Use Collaborative occurs on the traditional territory of the Pentlatch, Iksan, Tsatsila, and Tsotluth people, now collectively known as the Comox First Nation. All those involved in this work acknowledge the truth about ongoing harms caused by colonialization to the health and wellness of First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people, and commit to continuing the journey towards reconciliation. This work would not be possible without the selfless sharing of peer voices, those with lived and living experience. Peers are experts who must be involved in the decisions that impact them. And you can see that our medical health officer, Dr. Charmaine Ennis, is appreciative of the work being done in the Comox Valley. The Indigenous Women Sharing Society is leading the collaborative. And this slide really reminds us that the strategy defines substances very broadly as all mood-altering substances. In fact, most of the substances at some point in our lives or regularly, some can be problematic while others may not be. And this can be different at different times in our lives. So the Phase 3 actions focus on developing a highly functioning and impactful collaborative so that we can effectively carry out all 21 recommendations. The collection and analysis of data is vital, as is sharing our finding with the public during community events. Oops. In phase 3 of the strategy development, the 21 recommendations are grouped amongst 6 collaborative action tables with one central overarching coordinating table that supports them all and is responsible for finding a process to reduce stigma in the system, actively engaging and supporting peers to be involved in every aspect of planning, and that we practice cultural safety and humility, anti-racism, anti-queer phobia, anti-stigma, anti-ableism, anti-classism, and anti-ageism in implementation of the strategy. And the next 3 slides, over to you, Patty. You're on mute, Patty.
Thank you, Kim. Strengthening the central collaborative table is imperative to success of all the tables together. Therefore, we are focusing on ongoing development of peer engagement, impactful training sessions for the collaborative table, and increasing the membership at the tables and relationship building, including promoting decolonization and cultural safety development. This has led us to develop peer engagement strategies to identify barriers and increase participation. For example, we are developing an Indigenous and peer advisory table, which has been supporting the work of the central table. The strategy is now coordinated by a peer-led and an Indigenous-led organization, which is a significant step in inclusion and decolonization of the work as well. We are in the learning process and taking steps to understand how to decolonize our practices and create a more decolonized based system of working and actioning in all the tables versus coming from a place that's more based in fear and control. We are working to create equity in our process to work from a place of decolonization and empowerment. Ongoing training will be a part of this process throughout all of the actioning and integrated into all of our work. The Central Collaborative Table is actively developing a cultural safety orientation package that is designed to support all of the tables in learning how to work collaboratively, inclusively, and in a decolonized manner. This package is also developed and guided by Indigenous elders and peers that are directly involved in this work. One of the goals of the collaborative is to reduce the siloed work in our community and building community collaborations. The collaborative is an excellent example of how we are doing that and coming together. As you can see, we have 3 active tables right now that are initiated, and they're all very collaborative with multiple organizations represented at each table.
So there is so much work to be done to reduce the harm of substance abuse in our communities. Collecting and analyzing data, both quantitative and qualitative, is vitally important to monitor and document our process. We are actively engaging with Island Health, RCMP, North Island College, municipalities, and other organizations to collect further data. We also have developed a youth survey. So while it might look like reported deaths are going down in the Comox Valley, it is still more than double what it was in 2020. We also want to highlight that the harm from all sources of addiction, and that includes alcohol, vaping, and smoking. And your handout there has a link to our data sources for this table. So we're making strong progress in raising awareness around the substance use through meaningful collaboration, youth engagement, and community-led initiatives. From upcoming events with national partners to active youth involvement in schools and public fairs, there's growing momentum and shared commitment across our community. This next slide is yours, Patty.
Thank you. As we move forward, our focus is on deepening our collaboration in the community, ensuring cultural safety remains central to our work. We are expanding our efforts through creating new action tables, addressing a broad range of substance use issues, and advocating for critical resources like detox beds, all while staying responsive to the evolving needs of our community and the 21 strategic recommendations.
So as you can see, we have some important work ahead. Courtney has committed $15,000 over 3 years, and we're very grateful for their leadership. We're seeking additional partners, and your support will help implement all 21 recommendations to protect the health and safety of Comox Valley residents. With respect, please consider a multi-year contribution of $15,000, and I believe together we can create lasting change. So I'll stop sharing my PowerPoint now, and we are open to any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you, Patty and Kim, for the presentation. Really appreciate it, and for keeping within the timelines as well. I see a question here from Councillor Director Hillian.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks for the presentation and for the good work that you and all your colleagues are doing. I'm just curious, given that you're requesting funding, do we have any sort of a budget from you in terms of what it costs to run the collaborative, what the money would actually be used for, and you know, where if we were to make a contribution, it would fit in? I think that would be helpful in the board considering whether to make a contribution or if so, what size? Thanks.
I'll let Patty answer that.
Thank you. Mr. Hellion, we do not have a budget prepared at this time, but there is a large, vast work that needs to be done. So the majority of the funding would be to provide coordination costs to coordinate all the work in the tables, including initiating the action tables and building partnerships and seeking ongoing funding. But we would be happy to prepare that for you and share it with you.
Great. Any questions online? Don't see any. And no other questions in the room. Okay, and as is our habit, we will have this as an item of discussion at a future meeting. I just want to thank both of you again for spending part of your afternoon, evening with us, and really appreciate the work that you do and for the presentation today.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to section F of the agenda. The first item is a UBCM Community Excellence Award submission. And for this, I will turn it over to James, our CEO.
Second. Thanks, Chair. So applying for awards is not typically something that CVRD undertakes. More often, we're just focused on getting the work done. That said, the UBCM, Union of BC Municipalities, is one organization that the CVRD is a member of, and you all have substantial and regular connections with UBCM and its members on a regular basis throughout the year. And the UBCM has this Community Excellence Awards program, and it celebrates local government initiatives every year. The program seems to fit very well with the work you do, and the effort to make this application would be fairly minimal given all of the efforts you put into strategic planning over the past several years. The report describes your strategic planning process and highlights some of the rationale to support an award application. A board resolution is needed to accompany the application if you are interested. And if the board is successful, awards are typically provided at the September convention, the annual UBCM convention. If you have any questions, happy to support that. Otherwise, it's a fairly self-explanatory report, I think.
Great. Thanks for that preamble and succinct report as well. Pretty clear. Any questions, though, about this? Okay. And nothing online. Okay. So we have a motion for receipt. Any discussion? Anyone opposed to receipt? Motion carries. There's a recommendation on the floor. Hillian, seconded by, I think that was Director Brown. Any discussion about the recommendation? Okay, anyone opposed to the recommendation? Motion carries. Okay, everyone keep their fingers crossed. All right. All right, item number 2. This is the Black Creek Oyster Bay Services Committee report. There's minutes from May 12th, We have Director Grant and Alternative Director Nickel. Any discussion about these minutes? Anyone opposed to receipt or to approval? Seeing none, motion carries. Great. And this is a recommendation for the areas C and D. And I believe we have one voter in the room today. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Oh, it's all. Oh, I have an old agenda. My apologies. Everyone gets to vote. Yay. Okay. So yeah, any discussions at all on the recommendation? Okay. Everyone in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Great. On to another set of minutes in the Electoral Area Services Committee. Grieve and Grant. Any discussion of these minutes? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have another recommendation. Great. And this is a recommendation for areas A, B, and C to vote on. And that's still the case. Great. Any discussion at all about the recommendation? This is for next generation funding to be consolidated. Okay. Everyone in favor? Areas A, B, and C? All three in favor? Great. Motion carries. Moving along, number 4, the Water Committee minutes from May 13th. Grant and Alternative Director Nickel. Great. Any discussion about these minutes? Anyone opposed? Approved. Recreation Commission minutes from last week. 2 weeks ago. Okay, any discussion on these? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to section G, bylaws and resolutions. The first recommendation is bylaw number 867. This is specifically around boat ramp fees, and this is a vote of the areas. Any discussion? We did have a seconder. We need a seconder, Director Hillian. Thanks, Director Grant, for motioning. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And for third reading, okay, Hillian and Grieve. Discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have another bylaw, 873. This is a fire service bylaw. Perfect? Grieve and Grant. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And third reading from Grant and Morin. Discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving right along, we have some stage 2 water restriction recommendations under bylaw 874. Perfect. It was Grant and Nickel. And again, this is a vote of A, B, C areas and Courtney and Comox. Any discussion on first and second reading? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have Hillian and Grant. It's racing to get that in. Any discussion on third reading? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we have some recreation complex fees, not complex fees, complexes fees. First and second moved by Grant. Great. And Hillian, and I think we have discussion. Excellent. Please, Mayor Brown.
I just thought we should talk about something. No, I'm wondering, so I did look at the item and it's, I know we don't generally carry cash, but sometimes people use cash in rec centers. And I know that our staff in Cumberland are struggling to manage the numbers. So people don't have pennies and the rates are $6.74 or $3 and whatever. They're alternate. They're not rounded up to the nearest quarter or down to the nearest quarter. Is that something we might want to consider?
I wasn't expecting a question like that.
No.
To be honest. I think given that pennies are not part of the circulation anymore, any cash transaction is done to the nearest nickel.
Okay, and they just reconcile that somehow?
Sorry. No nickels in particular, but I know on credit card and debit card transactions, they are to the nearest penny still. So I believe, and Doug, I'm not sure if you have anything to add to this, but I believe that in practice, we would be going to the nearest nickel.
Okay, great. As long as we're not struggling to manage that in some way.
If
I'll
we
leave it
are,
alone.
we will bring this back to the.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Any other questions about first and second reading on this bylaw? Okay, anyone opposed? Motion carries. Hillian and Grant. And any discussion on third reading? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. That ends our agenda of the open session. If I could have a motion to go to restricted in camera pursuant to subsection 91K. Perfect. And we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll go back in camera. Thanks, everyone.